Welcome back, guys, to this absolute disaster of a freaking garage. Let me go ahead and clean this up real quick. All right, now that that's all done and out of the way, welcome back, guys, to the 6th installment in the Honda Navi Build series. We are really cranking these videos out. As you guys saw in the last video, holy exposure, I installed my NGK spark plug coil with a new spark plug. If you guys missed that video, I'll leave a little link probably up here. I'll leave a link in the description, it's fine. Make sure to check that video out if you guys haven't seen it already. But today we are doing something very special to the rear end. We have the XKglow motorcycle license plate frame. It's essentially a brake light is what it is. Has turn signals too, and it has a plate light as well. Unfortunately, I only want the brake light function, so that's what I will be doing in this video, but I will show you guys how to wire all that up. Unfortunately, not everything is universal, because if you look at this license plate bracket, see how thick it is? You see how from that hole to the top, it's like easily a ½ an inch. So on my dad's bike, that would fit with absolutely no problems. Unfortunately, with this fender delete that I did from, I think it was Man in the Box, this actually doesn't fit. Like the bolts all the way up there. So essentially, that would be up there, and that's clearly not gonna miss my Navi plastic. So I went ahead and tracked down this license plate bracket delete, essentially, from Kemimoto. This actually will fit absolutely flawlessly. You can get this at Reckless Customs. It's like Reckless Customs Cartel. I forget the name of the website. I'll leave a link in the description below. Essentially what this is gonna do is this is gonna go in the exact same spot, but it brings it down a lot further. Now, that might not be attractive to some people, but it's gonna be very attractive to me because look at that. You have built-in turn signal mounts, and there's 2 of them as well. So if you wanted to go ahead and put those ones that stick out on the bottom or on the top, and you wanted to go ahead and take the flush mount ones and put them on the side for when people look at you from the side, you can actually do that. And I'm such a huge fan of that. So we'll be technically installing both of these in this video. First things first, we're gonna wanna go ahead and take our seat off. You can go ahead and take your key, and it just pulls right up. And then that will give us access to our wiring, as well as the taillight stuff, which we won't really need right now. But you will need it in order to wire that license plate frame. But we're just gonna be doing the bracket for right now. And as you can see, there are 2 bolts down in there that essentially holds this bracket on. I could go ahead and disconnect these turn signals and everything and undo those 2 bolts, and the whole thing is just gonna come right off the bike. So that is what I will be doing. So after you take your seat off, there's a little white rivet that kind of sits in that hole. All you have to do is pull it up and it should come right off. Go ahead and slide the sheathing back. It's protective sheathing for your wiring. I have these for mine. These are called LED resistors. You might not have yours if your bike is not upgraded with LED stuff. Go ahead and I will put the camera up for you guys. Go ahead and start disconnecting all these. Mine are all labeled H, 2 diagonal stripes. That one's a T with a line, K, M, O. They're all labeled, so I know exactly where they're gonna go. But essentially you can go ahead and just start disconnecting these. I'm gonna go ahead and take my impact driver with a 13mm chrome socket, and I'm gonna put it on my impact, and I'm gonna go ahead and snap my 13mm. No. Let's go ahead and break these loose. The whole license plate should fall, and then all you do is feed the wires back through the hole. You can do it without an impact. I just want to speed things up. No harm, is completely out. Once the wires are through, go ahead, take your turn signals off. Right, before we install this bracket onto the bike, there's actually one thing that we do need to do. There are little buffers, there's 3 little holes right here that you see. There's little rubber grommet buffer things, and essentially what this does is it prevents your license plate from rattling. You just press right in to the frame. There's one in. So yeah, all 3 go in, and then your plate's actually gonna mount up here. Your plate does not mount to these holes. It mounts up here. See how it has slide room? Because some plates are bigger than others. And it fits like a glove. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about how far down that is. Like I prefer it up here, but I don't think that's actually gonna look half bad. So before I throw any more wires up through here, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this. So you see you have 3 wires coming out of your rear. So you have this one, which I believe is for the left turn signal. You have this green one, which is the ground, and you have this blue one, which I believe is the right one. And then you have these 3, which connect into your tail light. So one's gonna be a brake light, one's gonna be a run light, and one's gonna be your ground. In this circuit for your turn signals, the green appears to be the ground. There's actually 2 green right here, but one has a yellow stripe. You can go ahead and see that. I'm gonna guess the brown is gonna be the ground because I think the brown always runs in the middle on these types of plugs. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and disconnect this, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find the polarity as to which is which. This is the wiring diagram, or how it's supposed to be, to the XKglow license plate frame. So essentially, you have purple, which is your left signal, the brown, which is the right signal. Usually brown or green would be the ground, but in this application, it's right turn signal. Red, which is the brake light. Blue, which is the running light. Black is ground, which makes sense, honestly, because black is usually ground too. And white, which is the 12 volt. Now I'm a little confused because it should be drawing power from the blue because it's a running light, but it has a dedicated blue wire to the running light and it has a dedicated white wire from the 12 volt source, which is kind of weird. So I'm guessing that it either always pulls white, so I need to make a wire go all the way back to my battery, I'm assuming, in order to make this license plate work, which is kind of weird. I don't know. I'll have to experiment with this, but I'm gonna probably have to pause this video for a little bit and actually try this out. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get going on that. All right, we're off to a great start. So essentially, unplug that, and what I did was connected these wires into this plug. So the white's gonna be positive, and the red is going to be your brake wire, and the black is the ground. And as soon as you turn good old key on, we get it to turn on. So that means at least one thing, that the black circuit is that just plain green wire. So the green wire is the ground. After many trial and error, go ahead and flip this. License plate frame comes on. Unfortunately, there's no way to just have this, the license plate light. I really wanted this to be off. It's all right, I guess. There's no way that I can do it without it shutting down on me completely, because if I pull this wire out, the whole thing just goes. But if I connect it again, you know, so it stinks. It's unfortunate, but I'm gonna have to live with it. I really wish it was a separate circuit So we go ahead and do that. And we have our brake. So not half bad. So that's how I'm gonna wire it, exactly like that. That's actually really bright. You can't even tell on camera, but that's bright in its daytime. Like, wow. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire that up. All right, a day and a half later and trying to figure out this wiring harness. Everything's set up. Everything looks great. I did have one small issue, unfortunately. And if you can go ahead and look back here, you see I had to cut a hole in the license plate bracket. And that was because this sits up a little bit higher where the wires are, and your plate sits down here, if you can see it. So the wires come up here, and it actually blocks, the plate frame actually blocks this wiring harness from coming out. But then I just routed it through there because it's actually a flat harness, not round. And it comes right up to the other side of the bike. What I also managed to do is splice into this circuit with 3 different connections. So I spliced right into this, redid it, all the wires, so you have your negative, your running light, and your brake light. And I just went ahead and I made them into 3 different circuit things. So now I dragged this through, I just snipped this right now, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble these wires to their respective locations and tie down the ones that I will not be using. After a long time of trying to figure out these wiring diagrams and figuring out how I want to solder this together, I finally hooked it all up. It's all good. We'll go ahead and turn that key on. Plate comes right on. Ignore this. I chose to do this custom. It's going to be vinyl wrapped, nice and black, but I wanted to get rid of it. I didn't really like the row going across. I just like this. So that's just my personal preference. I'm an idiot. But we have our brake light as well. It's actually super bright. Wicked, wicked bright. And it just completely changes the back of the Navi. Or any motorcycle for that fact. Just looks super cool. Off camera, it looks way better, honestly. There's just so much exposure right now. But I will go ahead and quickly tell you guys how I did this. So the purple and the brown, I am not using. The red goes to your brake light. Go ahead, turn this off. The red goes to your brake light. The blue goes to your running light. The black goes to ground. Black does not have to go back to your ground terminal on your battery. It can, but all I did was throw it into the ground off the tail light. And then the white. So I was very confused about the white, but I actually tested it. And if you go ahead and take the white away, the light actually dims. It's like it's struggling for power. So what I did was wired the white into just one simple 12-volt wire, brought it down, and connected it. And even while the bike's off, it does not turn on. And as soon as you go ahead and flip that key, let's see if I can do it for you, it comes on. So it's not like it's always running, you know? So that's how that circuit is controlled. I feel like that's extremely stupid, but I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much how it's done. Thank you guys for sticking with me through this absolute horrendous project. I did not expect that to be as bad as it was. Probably in the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and explain why these bikes have a speedometer, tachometer recall from their cable. Gonna go ahead and fix that probably. And then after this, we have jetting, an intake, and probably a custom fender too, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.